Sid from Sid's Trains here, and welcome to O-Scale Layout Update number 3. So in the last update video, this is what the room looked like. The room had been painted, and as you can see, the shelves had been put up on the wall, and this is a clip before I had put the trains up on the wall. But it was just, the bare table was left in the room, and I had put the trains up on the wall, and that's about all I had really done in the room. No actual layout work had really been done. This table was still just the bare MDF. So that's what my dad and I have been working on, is working on the MDF in the train room. Uh, we didn't want the table to just be MDF, so we decided to add another layer to the top of the table. And that's what I'm going to be showing you right now. So we decided to go with Homosote as the next layer on the top of the table. Homosote is a sound deadening material that reduces sound and is a good kind of base for all the scenery on model train layouts. And lots of people use it, and that's what we decided to use. In this picture here, you can see my dad and I cutting the Homosote. We decided to use a normal utility knife instead of using a jigsaw or a circular saw, as it makes less of a mess and gives you a better cut than the power saws. And here is one of the cuts. You see it's nice and clean. There's no weird edges, and it gives it a very nice look, and again, makes less of a mess. Here's a 90-degree cut we made. Again, really nice cut, no weird edges, and it looks really good. Again, nothing has to be perfect because we are going to be putting an edge, like an edge on the front of the table, or edging. I'll be showing you some edging later in the video, as that's something we've been working on. But again, this looks really nice, and I like the result. Here's 2 more sheets that we cut. Everything looks nice and clean, and if you see that gap in the back, that gap was left there because we wanted the front of the table to have a uniform look, so that all the nice clean cuts would be at the front, but any weird cuts on the Homosote, we'd prefer those to be in the back because you won't see them as much. If you put all the nasty stuff at the front of the table, then you'll see it, people will walk in, it just won't look very good. So we put all the nice cuts in the nice flat parts at the front and left the gap that we will fill in at the back. This here was probably one of the hardest cuts to do. This is the curved part of my table where my transformer is. As you can see, there is like a little weird gash in it there, but we did take a sanding block and sand all that smooth, so it's a nice smooth edge instead of it being that weird gash in it. But of course, we're putting edging on the table, so it's not going to really matter that much. But you don't want it to look bad or anything, and just knowing that it just wouldn't satisfy me and my dad. Here's another piece, just more filling in of the table. You can see more 90-degree cuts. There's a 45-degree cut over in the corner there. Just looks really nice, and I really like how Homosote creates this nice base for the table. It's just a nice surface to work with. Again, here's some more, a wider shot of the table filled in. There's some track just laying on the table, but I'll actually talk about that later. But again, you can see on the right there's that space that isn't filled in. We did fill that in with pieces that we cut, but as I said before, I wanted those pieces to be in the back because you want the weird looking pieces to be away from people's eyes. You want them to look at the nice stuff. Here is the kind of completed result of us cutting the Homosote. Looks really nice, creates this nice base for the table, very uniform look, nothing weird, just very uniform, looks really nice. And then from here, we move on to filling in all the cracks in the table. Here is what we use to fill in the gaps in the table. This is Web Patch 90, and it's just a material kind of like plaster of Paris or drywall compound. You just mix it up with water, and we use this to fill in the gaps in between the Homosote and any other kind of gashes in the Homosote. This isn't the only thing you can use. You can use caulk, you can use glue. Some people just use tape. Just use what you like, but this is what my dad and I used. Here's some of it mixed up. As you can see, it's kind of like plaster of Paris. Not so much like drywall compound when drywall compound is wet, but when it's dry, it's that kind of powdery, hard like rock material that drywall compound is like when it's dry. And it works really well, but you do have to sand it after you put it on to the surface. So here's an example of some of the compound put down onto the table. I just fill in the gaps and make sure to leave some extras on the side so that I can then sand it smooth. And then now I'm going to be showing you me putting some of it down on the table in a time lapse. I hope you enjoy. With all the cracks and joints filled in, I went over everything with this DeWalt sander and a vacuum cleaner connected to it. I made sure to make everything smooth, and with it smooth, I went over everything again with one thin coat of the Web Patch 90 and filled in any more gaps that were left, sanded all of those smooth, and it looks really good. I'm happy with the result of me sanding and filling in the gaps. So that's about all the table work that I've done. All the gaps are and cracks are filled in. It looks really nice. Everything is smooth and about as level as I can get it. And that's pretty much all we've done so far. The next thing that we have to do is paint it. We'll be getting paint very soon, and you'll be seeing the painted table in the next layout update. This right here is that edging I was talking about. We're using wood for the front of the table as an edging to cover up the homosote, the MDF, and the 2x4s you see on the front of the table. And it gives it this nice clean look and a very uniform look. It's not going to stay as just bare wood. It'll either be stained or painted black or just some kind of dark color. Here you can see the grooves we cut in the edging. This allows it to then clip on to the side of the table and not just be above the table or below. It kind of clips on and creates this nice little lip that hangs over the top of the table. And we did this using my neighbor's table saw, which was very handy to have, and I'm thankful that he allowed us to use that. So the next thing that I've been working on is my track. This is all my Lionel 30-inch sections of Fast Track. And the track is very dirty. All the ballast is covered in dirt and dust. All the rails are really dirty. I was not keeping up with cleaning it when I had the train set up before. And with me building this new, or getting the new layout going, I wanted the track to be nice and clean. So I decided to go outside with some soapy water, my track eraser and some other stuff and clean the track well. As you can see here, the center rail is just covered in grime and grease, and it's just horrible. It is extremely dirty, and that's not what I want for the new layout setup that I'm going to be having. I want my track to be nice and clean, so I went outside and got it all clean. So that's about all the physical work that I've done layout wise. I did the homosode on the top of the table, got it all filled in, and I cleaned the track, and then we also did that edging. Something else I've been working on is my track plan for the layout. So let's go check that out. So here is my new track plan for the layout. This looks a lot different from the last track plan that you saw for my layout. So let's go through this and see what I've done. To start out, I added the double crossover that is famous on my channel and on YouTube in a way. It's my most popular video of me showing off my double crossover, so I kind of had to keep that. I added it back in, and I think I will enjoy it, and I think for videos it'll be cool to show off. Over here, there used to be a track that went underneath this elevated track, went around and connected over here. That is gone. I couldn't make that work with the way this track was elevated. It wasn't going to work out. Next thing is the engine facility. These two tracks are still here. I eliminated one of the tracks that came into the turntable, and then I added a bunch of whisker tracks over here. None of these are kind of set in stone, but this is the look I'm going for, and I'm fine with just having one track come in. Over here, I have this spur and then this long spur that'll be a siding, probably inside a tunnel, as you see here. Then this right here is like one of the big things I added. This is a yard. I really wanted a yard, and that's why I eliminated my pop-up in the middle of the table, but I'm fine with that. I didn't really need the pop-up. So I put the yard in. These are 060 switches, and I think this is a pretty decent sized yard. I got a 30-inch section here, around a 25-inch section, or almost a 20-inch section, 15, 5, or 10-ish. So it's a decent sized yard, and I'll have fun pulling trains in and out of it. I'm really glad that I added this. So yeah, this is the new, revised, and kind of final track plan, so to speak. The engine facility will definitely change, but for the most part, the loops are the way they are. The yard is going to be the way it is, and I'm really happy with how this has turned out. And that's about all I got for this layout update. I hope all of you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun editing it. It's just videos are fun to edit, but especially layout updates. I get to show off what I'm doing with my layout. And if you notice, the audio quality of my voice is better. I'm using a new mic, and I hope it's a lot better than it was before. And now you can probably hear me, of course. But yeah, that's all I got for this video. Stay tuned for more. And as always, like, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications. Comment below and tell others about the channel. I'm Sid, and I'll see you next time.